Welcome back to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast, a show all about inspiring smart, busy women to put their happiness at the top of their to-do list. Join your host and life coach, Dion Thompson, as she chats with amazing women who have figured out how to make their happiness a priority, and more importantly, what it's really like to go from hot mess to awesomeness. And now, on with the show.
Welcome everyone to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast. I am your host, and today, very sweaty life coach. And I am here with my fabulous friend, Natasha. Now, Natasha is a stay-at-home mother of two beautiful unschooling children. She's a Reiki master and a mystic priestess of the Rose lineage. While writing her first book and launching her podcast called Open-Hearted Parenting, Natasha is working on building offerings for parents who wish to heal in order to be the best parent they can be. Yes, please. She believes healing our own trauma, releasing our old stories, and learning how to love and accept ourselves unconditionally is the most amazing gift we can give ourselves and our children. And I could not agree more. Welcome, Natasha.
Thank you so much.
I have been looking forward to this. Now, we met in another group circle, connected very much by heart-centered and energy-conscious women. It was a really beautiful space to be in. And when I got a glimpse of your energy and what you're putting out into the world and how you're doing that, I think I was really intrigued by the how. I'm a how person. I like to observe things. Ooh, that's interesting that's how they're doing that. The thing they're doing is also interesting, but the how is really what jazzes me up. And I'm inspired by the journey that you and your family have chosen to embark on. I know it's not extremely unique, but it's different than what I am used to. And so I'm fascinated by how you have found your way to bring in all of the light and the energy and the love for you, your family, and your community. And then now that you are expanding that so that others can do the same, I'm wowed by that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I'm very excited to hear a bit about your podcast, but I think we'll save that until the end.
Okay.
Let's start with what you're doing now is so very passion driven and focused and open, and very much what I perceive as this opportunity to allow what is meant to be, and then finding a way to thrive through that. But I know that that's not exactly where the journey began in this state of enlightenment. So let us in on what really prompted you to embark on a journey that not everybody knows about, understands, and now we get a chance to learn. So enlighten us.
Oh, well, as you're asking me that, so many things popped in my head. And one of the biggest moments that shifted my path was probably about 5 years ago. I was standing in my kitchen, and I had walked down the stairs. I'm standing in the kitchen, nobody's with me. And I just out loud said to myself, I hate myself. I hate everything that I'm doing to myself. I was, sometimes you're doing things and you have this voice in the back saying, might not be a good idea. And we're like, oh, be quiet. It's going to be fine. I can eat that. It's fine. I could stay up really late. It's fine. I could drink that. It's fine. But all of a sudden this day, I was standing there thinking, I hate myself because I'm not loving myself at all. And I don't love any part of this. And I thought, this is really bad. This is I have to change this. And, I suppose I had been working up to this point for many, many, many years. I don't ever remember feeling like I ever really fit in anywhere with any group, with anything. I remember going into CEGEP, which is college in Quebec, and I went into music, and I thought, well, if there's anywhere I'm going to fit in, it's with musicians, right? Like they're artists and they're free and they're free thinking, and I didn't even fit in there. I remember sitting outside of this area where all the musicians would meet, and I would sit on the outside and watch everybody and think, this is not where I'm meant to be. And so for the longest time, I didn't feel like I fitted anywhere. I thought that was something wrong with me. And I realized as I grew older, it was a strength to be the individual that I am, and I needed to learn how to love that individual. And so from that day in the kitchen, I started doing little things to remind myself that I was lovable, and remind, when we talk to our kids, they might do something that we see as not a good choice, let's say, and we can either give them shit for it, or we can say, maybe the next time we could do better, and forgive them and love them through it. And it's not always easy because we see ourselves in those choices and we judge ourselves, so then we judge them, right? And so I started realizing that the choices that I was making, okay, it's okay. I'm still going to love myself. I'm going to do better next time. And there were times where, okay, so 10 years ago, I'll go back 10 years, my mother passed. She had cancer. And at that time I was living in Toronto, single. I had a dog walking company. I was acting, and my life was completely different. And she went into hospital to have a surgery. I dropped everything. I went home to Montreal to be with her. So did my sister. My brother did. We all were with her. No, she was never alone in the hospital, right? So she went through this major surgery. And this was like a story that if I were to write it and make it into a movie, no one would believe it. It was so extreme, everything that had happened. And my father was a very unhealed person, very, very full of pain. And he just drank. I don't think I ever saw him sober in my whole life. Maybe one or two times. And so because he was so unhealed through the whole process of my mother going through the surgery, leaving hospital, going home, he was just so needy. And he was just making so much conflict and so much trauma for everyone because he was so unhealed. And he was looking for love in any way he could. And then my sister was with her for a little bit at home. My sister needed to go back home. So I dropped everything again and went to live with my mom for her final few months. And it was the best time ever. And I learned how to be a mother by mothering her in those few months. And my life during that was completely shifted. And she had passed. I found out I was pregnant with my first child a couple days after she passed. And then the following year was she passed. I gave birth. We moved. We got married. My father had cancer. I had to deal with her estate. So all this big stuff, right? And I had no time to heal. So fast forward a few years, I'm standing in my kitchen at our new home here, and I hate myself. And it wasn't really that I hated myself. It was that I just didn't have time to heal. And so I just opened all the doors to heal because I was holding on to so much stuff. It was coming out every few months in anger. And it was like a volcano, like it was erupting. And it was usually around my cycle. Every once in a while, I would just feel this just surge of, and I thought, if I don't heal, if I really don't deal with what's going on, my kids are going to grow up with a mother who is very unhealed, probably will drink, probably will take her anger out on them all the time, belittle them, all the stuff that we do because we're unhealed. And it's not that we're bad people. It's just that we have these traumas that we've never really allowed to come out. And so I realized that was my journey, is to heal all of that. And I just let it, I didn't have any hows. I remember whenever something big would happen, I would end up turning to listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, Carolyn Meese, and I would just listen to them just all the time. Instead of binge watching shows, which I would do as well, I would listen to them all the time, and I would take it in. And I think that was kind of the foundation that was being laid years and years and years ago to kind of come into practice now. And it wasn't so much of, I will take a bath now because it will be healing for me to be alone. It was just instinctive. I need to go be by myself. I need to go cry. I need to go eat chocolate and drink tea and watch whatever show I need to watch. And my husband, it took a long time for him to understand that grief and healing isn't a one and done. It's a lifelong process. And so it took him a while to realize, okay, this is something that she's going to need to work through for many years, and I just need to be there and support. And it's taken a long time for me to heal from all these things, but I realized that for my children, that was pretty much you've got to do this for your kids, because there's no way that you're going to continue this pattern. And then I realized, well, it's also really for me, because I really do want to love myself. I remember seeing years and years and years ago, Natalie Portman on what's that called? It's the Inside the Actors Studio. And she was being interviewed, and she was sitting up on the stage, and she's beautiful. She's got her career, everything's going for her. And she says, I love myself. I just love myself. And I thought, what the fuck is she talking about? What the fuck? What? She loves herself. And I was like, I don't. How could you? And I had that kind of like, how do I get there? And so it was years later that I realized, okay, it's an active effort of being forgiving, being patient, being kind, all the things we want to be for our children. We have to be for ourselves, you know? And I remember learning, and this was actually through unschooling, that Sandra Dodd, she's an unschooling mother of decades, and her kids are grown, and she's always had this online forum where they would talk about stuff. Like back when they were starting unschooling, it was pretty much a new thing. And one of the things that she talks about is make a better choice the next time, and always say like, okay, in this moment, I fucked up. And I could say that to my kids. I'm having a really shitty day. I didn't eat well. I didn't sleep well. I'm not eating enough or drinking enough water. I'm not angry at you. You did nothing wrong. This is my shit. You don't have to say it exactly like this, but this is my shit. And next time, I promise I'm going to try to do better. And every time, just try to do better. And in the moment, whatever it is, remember, okay, this is an opportunity for me to make a different choice. Am I going to make that different choice, or am I going to continue the pattern? And it's little baby itsy bitsy choices along the way, really.
I am a little speechless. Doesn't happen often. This really, really hits home for me. And I too took some time to get to that space where taking that opportunity to bring yourself into your awareness so that you can go, oh yeah, no. And this is a choice that I've made, and I can choose something different. And, up until now, I perhaps have been choosing to do it this way, but that doesn't mean that the next time I have to do the same. And I struggled with a very unhealed, that's still a journey, state when my children came into the world. Lots of anxiety, lots of pain, lots of screaming, lots of things that, looking back, I mean, I can't do anything about that. But again, moving forward, what are the small, tiny steps that can be taken to make a difference? And like you, I mean, I know how, no. And I don't know if this is something that may resonate with you, but I was the person that people turn to for information. Like, she knows how to do that. She knows how to do this. And John's going to take care of this. And I was the fixer. So when the fixer feels broken, who does the fixer turn to? And so it's that really deep, I got to figure this out journey. And like you connecting with people who I didn't actually know, right? So listening to podcasts and reading certain books and taking in that energy consistently. I started listening to a podcast in the early days of my healing, and it was for creative entrepreneurs. And at the time, I considered myself the anti-creative, and I was not an entrepreneur. I worked for the school board in a very, very employee-employer relationship. And so I couldn't figure out why I'd spent a year binge listening to this podcast, only to then uncover that it was part of the healing that I needed to do. So I just wanted to thank you for shedding light on that story, because I share parts of that story, and I know now we are not the anomaly. Like, this is, there are many women out there feeling that same pressure, because we are not encouraged to heal, right? We're supposed to heal others. That's the nurturer's job, is to make sure everybody else is okay. And
and that's bullshit.
Absolute bullshit, right? Like, I'm all me first. I'm all about, there's my cup and I'm going to fill it. Nobody gets what's in my cup. You can have what it spills out if you want it, but if you don't, that's not my responsibility to give you what you need. I'm just here being me. And that's made a huge difference. And that acknowledgement of, like, this may not have been the best choice in this moment. Looking at what I've done or what I've said or how I've done it, not ideal, but I forgive that, and I have opportunities to make shifts in the future. And so thank you for, again, articulating that, because it's really, really important that more women hear that it's okay to, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not, you're not making massive mistakes that, can't be fixed. There's always opportunity for growth and expansion and love. Like, I remember when I was pregnant, I said to my husband, there was this random coffee commercial, and it was a little girl, and she had blonde curly hair, and she was like, I love my house. I love me. I love my mommy. I love everything. I love my life. Right. And I'm like, that's the kid I want. I just was like, those are the children. I want them to feel that empowered. And like you, I was like, oh, that means I have to do that. That means I too have to get to that Natalie Portman moment of, like, I love myself. Yes,
Yeah.
I, like you, I would have looked and went, fuck you, bitch. That is, you're
that's
crazy.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. You're lying.
So tell me a little bit, because again, no manual, not a lot of models out there in the world. In my experience, the women in my world were just as unhealed and doing the best they could, but not a lot of skills were being modeled on how to best work through this, so that you can get to that vision that was perhaps a little bit foggy in the beginning, but knowing that you were moving towards something. What did you do? How did you stay grounded, and how did you continue to move yourself forward? I'm going to hazard a guess it was nice, tiny, little doable steps. So I'd love to hear about that.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about this recently, where when we're children growing up in whatever family, I'm sure it's not the case for every family, but I would say most, we're not really supported in listening to our intuition and deciding for ourselves. And we don't generally trust children to have the ability to know what is best for them. Of course, somebody might say, well, they might run out into the street. What would you do then? And of course, you would protect your children, from oncoming traffic or whatever hazard that could harm or maim them. Though little choices in their everyday aren't really nurtured to be their own. And so when I was growing up, I was the one who made sure everyone was okay. I was the third of, the last of three kids, and very empathetic. So I would see what my mother was going through. My parents got divorced when I was 5 or 6, and I could see her pain. So I ended up being like her mother growing up. So I didn't really have time to learn anything really about what I knew about me, what I liked, what I wanted to do. I was always worrying about, is everyone else okay? Is she okay? Am I doing okay in school? My teachers are telling me what to think, when to think, how to think it. My mother is telling me what to do after school. I didn't really have time to define who I was. So when I left school, I was a freaking train wreck. I was, like in my 20s, I drank so much. I'm shocked I'm alive. And, for the first half of my 20s, it was just partying. And just that was, I thought, well, this is an adult thing to do. Go out and have fun and drink and party. And no, it's not. It's very irresponsible and almost dangerous at times. So, but thank the universe, I'm okay, and I grew from it. So in my 30s, in my mid 30s, when my mother passed and then I became a mother, I was kind of like, I hit a wall because all my old coping mechanisms, smoking, drinking, staying up late, like I was a functioning adult, but all my coping mechanism, they couldn't work anymore because now I had this being that I was responsible for. And I didn't want to put my shit on her, even though in my own healing, there have been things that have happened where I'm thinking, oh God, if I could just remove that from her database, erase, yeah. But then I realized, so my goal for our family is to have a joyful, peaceful, loving home. And it's not, at the beginning of our journey into unschooling, I thought, okay, joy and peace, joy and peace, joy and peace, joy and peace. And if it wasn't joy and peace, I was doing something absolutely wrong and I wasn't getting it right and I was a failure. And then I realized, okay, my kids are going to have their own journey. They're going to experience things that I don't want to see them experience, but it's their path. And I can't manipulate it. I can't stop them from feeling or experiencing. And so I think that beginning as a child, growing up in a society where you're not really allowed to, at an early age, develop who you are and know your inner voice and honor it. When I had Lily, I realized I want to give her that. I want to give her a childhood where right off the bat, she's like, nope, I don't want to eat that. Nope, I don't want to go there. No, I don't want to hug that person. No, I don't want to go to bed yet. And so all of these old stories and patterns from, our society, our families are like, no, force her to go to bed, force her to eat her food, all these things, control, power over whatever. And I realized I want her to know herself now. So when she leaves, she's not needing to go through all the shit I did. Maybe she still will. I don't know. Though she'll have a foundation of inner knowing that she won't hopefully go against, because she's not going against it at all. No one can force them to do pretty much anything. I mean, today she's gone to the dentist. She hates the dentist, but she knows she needs to go. So there are these things that happen in our life where we talk about it and we say, okay, this is really important and these are the reasons why. So going back to becoming a mother, I was really, I don't know how this happened, but I was gifted with this knowledge that I needed to have her at home. I know this is not possible for everyone, but I needed to have her at home. I learned after she was born, she wanted to sleep in the bed with me. Okay, I'm not going to kill her. I'm awake. I'm aware. I'm breastfeeding, all these things. So I was listening to my instincts and my intuition, and little by little it was coming online. And I still compromise it because of these old stories that I grew up with. Don't be rude. Don't talk back. All this shit that we're told, right? Like even now, I'll see somebody my freaking age and I'll be like, I can't talk back to them because, she's like a woman behind a counter. I don't feel comfortable sometimes exerting well, no, I don't agree with what you're saying to me. This is what's on the bill. You didn't actually get, whatever the case may be. I still have this little girl fear of being rude or whatever. So I think that my healing really came with listening to that little voice. Okay, you need to step away. You need a break. You need to go upstairs and lay down. You need to go outside and put your feet on the grass. You need to scream, go into some room and scream in a pillow, whatever it is. And you need to stop drinking. I was drinking beer years ago. I would have a beer a night. And I remember waiting until like 5. For some reason, 5 was the magical hour. That didn't seem odd to have a beer at home alone. And I was waiting for this time to have a beer so I can sit down and be like, ah. And I thought, that's not healthy to be looking forward to this drink to feel peace. And I realized I could feel that any moment of any day. I can just sit down and just stop and breathe. And I realized because of, my father's relationship with alcohol and my past with alcohol, I thought, it's just better to get rid of it because first, I don't like how I feel when I'm drinking it. And it wasn't that I was excessively drinking, but it was something that I was looking forward to get me outside of my reality. And it wasn't like getting drunk, but it was just even first sip, I would think, this doesn't feel right. I don't need this. And in our culture, wine mom culture is like shoved at moms, like drink wine every night. It's healthy for you. It's, it's the same back in the 60s and 70s, smoke. It's going to help you relax. And, and so I decided to get rid of that. I decided to get rid of caffeine because again, when I would have a coffee, my heart would beat really fast. And I thought, oh, this isn't something I want to be doing to my body anymore because I want to be healthy for my kids as long as I can be here. So I started to remove things that just weren't lining up anymore. And it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing evolution where it's not, okay, well, you're going to eat this way and have only water for the rest of your life. No, it's going to ebb and flow and things are going to come and they're going to go and there's going to be seasons. So don't hold on to things. I think I used to do that as well. I would hold on to it and it would become an identity. And if I let it go, I thought, oh God, I'm letting a part of myself go. And I think that that's also part of when we make mistakes and we judge ourselves and we think we are the mistake and we're really just the spirit experiencing all the variety, the buffet of life. And we get to decide what's in our buffet. Okay, I don't want to yell anymore. How am I going to stop yelling? Okay, well, I'm going to learn some tools that I was never taught when I was a kid. Maybe I'll go and drink a glass of water. Maybe I'll just put my feet on the grass. Whatever the tool is to break that pattern, because it's this pattern that we have where it's so easy to go back into it because it feels familiar and easy. Well, let's break that pattern and do something different. Deep breathing, whatever. Sitting on the floor and being like, guys, this is getting a bit too much for me. I feel my body. And then our kids learn how their bodies feel when they're starting to feel this way. And so those are the little hows. I think that the biggest thing was really honoring my intuition and my instincts. And now I have no patience for anything that does not line up with my vibration at all. I just don't. And I can recognize things so much quicker now, where years and years ago, I would recognize it, but I would shuffle it away. And now the voice is so loud, I can't do it anymore. It's like, hello, we've done this. You know better. Yes, I do. Okay.
It's such a brilliant concept that prior to embarking on the journey of tapping in or tuning in to your intuition, for me personally and many people in my world, which is, why I think I saw it as challenging because no one was doing it. And so, but it's a fairly simple concept. It's just about bringing what is already happening into your awareness. And then soon as it's there, then you get that sort of pause moment to go, okay, I have this information. What would I like to do? So up until now, again, I've been choosing to do this. And now that I know more, I can do more or do something different. Or I could choose to do the exact same thing I did before, but it's a conscious choice. I am, even in a split second, able to walk through and go, I see where this is going to take me. And I'm still choosing that, but that's fine, because I'm a grown up and I can make choices. And, you know, like you, my knowing, my intuition was like, my visual is that she was encased in a cement room with no windows and no light and no anything. And so she could scream as loud as she wants. And it was very challenging for me to hear her. And she would make her way out in very brief split-second moments, usually when it was quiet enough for me to hear, where I was connected to nature, or something like there was a portal for her to pop out. But it felt brilliant to have that connection to myself, but it also felt like sand in my hands. Like I couldn't catch the moment, and I couldn't make it stay. And life would just turn back on and get really loud again. So for the listeners, I mean, yes, it is I say simple concept, and it can be easy. The key is to invite in more people who remind you that it's possible. So, you know, surrounded by an entire community of people who aren't, or who are just like you, not able to hear or acknowledge, like it can feel really hard because you feel alone. When in reality, there are many of us here who are doing this work, who believe in every person's capacity to tune in and make that connection. And I admire that you've made the early decision to start teaching these skills, modeling these skills for your children. I too do things in my own way, and my daughter's named her inner voice, that inner knowing, lovey-dovey, and has conversations with her. Because like you, I felt blindsided coming into adulthood. And again, your story really resonates with me. In my 20s, don't remember much of those. And felt like the responsible adult. Like that's what, you know, I got.
Adults do.
That's what adults do. Not only that, like, you can't tell me what to do because I'm a grown up now and I don't have to do anything. Still doing everything. But, you know, this idea that I was, you know, I can do everything. And it included this not so great behavior. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you again for the brilliant reminder of the normalcy of it. Even when we are in it, it feels foreign, new, like nobody else may be doing this. And I appreciate that together, you know, we are amplifying this message, and I want everybody to hear it. And so tell me a bit, or tell us, I guess, because it's more than just me listening to this now. Tell us a little bit about how you are amplifying this message and sharing it with the world.
Well, at the beginning of 2020, I decided to embark on the priestess path. And through that work, which really was the pinnacle of my many years of coming to this point of self-love and awareness. And it was almost like this, like, celebration time of like just letting it all out. And in that journey, I realized that the one thing that I can offer the world is love. And I know that sounds corny to some, but it really is like a genuine offering of unconditional love, because I think that there's a lot of people in the world who don't really haven't really felt that feeling of being and for themselves unconditionally accepted and loved. And it's I don't see anything else as important on this planet as that. Everything else is kind of like cherries on the cake. Yes, going to the moon is great, but if you don't love yourself and you don't accept yourself, what the fuck is the point? Because you're still going to hate yourself there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like, let's just heal love each other and love ourselves. Because another realization that I had over this past year is, you know, we can say that we're all one, right? Like that's become almost common knowledge and way of speaking.
Right.
And though this realization I had was, when I see somebody and they're experiencing something, that is me experiencing it. They're not separate from me. We really are all one. We're all an expression. We're all a divine expression of spirit. We're all connected through that, right? We are energy. So when I see someone else having a difficult moment or a difficult life, that is my life. That is my moment. And they are not separate from me. They're just an aspect of myself that I can recognize. And so offering other people unconditional acceptance and love is really what I want to offer the world. So with my podcast, I thought I could, and I have a feeling it's going to be just a series. It's not going to be a long haul, though I wanted to highlight the journeys of people healing and when they realized, oh my gosh, I really need to love myself. And how did they get there? Like I just explained for myself. And because I think for parents, we get caught up in, oh, I've got to raise my kids. I've got to make sure that they've got a roof over their head. They have clothes on their back, and they don't realize that all they want is their parents, and all they want is the love and time and acceptance from their parents. And if we could accept who we are, we can allow them the space to become who they are becoming, instead of manipulating, controlling, shaping, deciding for, ashamed of, whatever. And so with the podcast, I would like to offer just a space for people to come and listen to these stories and be inspired to love themselves and to learn how to maybe do that through hows that other people have come there, because I know that we all have different journeys and different ways and different hows. And my book as well, I felt like I could offer some sort of just a little glimpse into what it might be, the path might be like to fall in love with yourself and to accept yourself. And then offerings, and I dream of a community of people that can come together and just talk about all this stuff, but not so much a community where people would say like, yeah, it's so shitty that happened. Yeah, go get some wine. Like that false sense of support, where it's almost like and I don't want to shit on anybody, but it's almost like misery loves company. Like, I don't want to see you succeed because I feel really shitty about myself. I hate myself. I hate where I'm at. I hate my job. I hate everything, and I don't know how to get out of it. How dare you try to go there? Go get some wine, watch that TV show, smoke, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't leave me. So I want to give that space where people can come and be around people who are going to be like, you can do this, you can change, you can do these, you can take these steps, call me if you need me, whatever it's going to be. So these are the things that I've imagined. And though in those imaginings, my children are first. So I'm trying to figure out a way to balance it all. I know that I can't really balance it all because things need more than other things. So it's not really balancing, but just finding the time. And I'm just tapping into the quantum, just allowing it to manifest, taking my steps when I can, without attachment or expectation, and letting it develop in its own rhythm and time, because it will. It's meant to. I know it is. Though, being like kick ass, like crushing it, like that's not my language. I don't do crushing. I let unfold, so I'm living in that space and just accepting the rhythm of it developing in its own time. Because that old these thoughts of I've got to get it done or else somebody else is going to do it, or I got to get it done or else people won't know it's there, or whatever, I'm going to miss the boat, all these lies.
Right.
Let them be, let them go, and just realize that it's going to develop in its own time. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
That's brilliant. I, again, am very inspired by that. Of course, very much a part of the race, as it were, as a, we were saying before I'd hit record, that my knee-jerk response to when things get crazy and like there's lots of unknowns, I'm like, okay, we got to do things. Like that's the response, to go and take care of things. And then if you take care of things, then there are less things, which is crazy to think, because that's never true. It is never true that if you go and do a bunch of things that somehow there will be less things on the list. You just find space because you develop a habit of being busy. And so when things aren't as busy, you find things to fill voids.
Yeah.
So shifting that mindset to allowing, to giving space and allowing the space to be, instead of feeling the need to fill it and go. And you know, you're right. We tell ourselves a variety of non-truths about what would happen if we don't do the thing we think we're supposed to do. So, you know, for me, oh, there's a lot going on. I have to go do things. And yet I know people in my immediate life, they have the opposite response. Oh, there's a lot going on. I'm just going to sit back. But it's not about allowing, it's about escaping, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think both forms are a form of escapism. Me being busy, just being busy. And, you know, people like my husband who's like, nope. So I love that there's a whole new space that you can exist in that does away with the non-truths and allows you and the individuals who are practicing that to feel more aligned and confident in the tiny decisions that you make throughout the day, right? So faced with scenarios, you're like, I'm putting my time here, and without a second thought to it, because you've already decided that everything will make its way to you when it's meant to. And you just, if you stay in that trusting space, which of course is the opposite of control, which is of course what busy person is all about. Control.
And it's also, I remember after my daughter was born, I year and a half after she was born, I took a doula class, and I learned in that class that there is postpartum depression and there is postpartum anxiety. And I didn't know that that was a thing. And I thought, oh my God, that was what I was experiencing. And I didn't even know that I experienced anxiety until a few years ago, where I named it and I said, oh my God, I think this is anxiety. What? This has been happening for so long.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that that was okay. It was okay to feel that. Though I was like feeling it and trying to manage it and trying to function within it. And that's not good. That does not lead to good things. And so allowing things, trusting, and not holding on to expectation or the outcome was a big thing for me, because I used to do that. I used to have all those things, expectations, holding on to the outcome, managing, fixing, doing all these things. And if it didn't work out, it was not good. And so now I see it a totally different way, where it's okay if it doesn't happen. That's okay. If today it doesn't happen, it's okay. My kids are healthy. We've got a house. I've got my animals. My husband's healthy. I'm healthy. Like all these blessings. Gratitude. That's one thing. Gratitude. And one other thing that shifted my internal life and love for myself and others was, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That's the Ho'oponopono prayer. I've been practicing that for years, though this last year it was all the time. I made a conscious choice that whenever something would pop in my head that shifted my vibration, my perception of my reality, whatever, my mood, I would say that. If I started having a conversation in my head with somebody that never happened, but it was happening in my head, I would imagine their face and I would say this to them. And it just instantly shifted my whole being. And it was a conscious every day, all day. And I still do it when I feel something happening, swirling. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And it's just the energy from that is, so that's a definite how.
That's hitting really in all my heart space. That's really powerful. Thank you for that. And I know I've said it twice already. I'm going to say it again. I feel you on the whole anxiety thing. So I too, undiagnosed, because I didn't realize it till much later that I had postpartum anxiety. I had anxiety my whole life. Didn't know it. No idea. I thought that's how other people lived. I thought blacking out, like out of either rage or confusion, was normal. And like that intense angst, chest pain, I just thought that's how everybody responded, and that I needed to pull my head out of my ass and figure shit out. That was
and the shame that goes with that is debilitating.
Massive. And looking around going, well, obviously everybody else seems to be handling this. So like, and they're turning to me for things. So like fucking pull your shit together. Power through was my mantra in the early days, like of just, like doesn't matter. Just keep going. That's bullshit for the people in the back. Yeah. Can you say the statement again? I kind of want to hear it again.
Okay. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And to genuinely from your heart, not just like, oh, fuck. Okay. I'm sorry. Not, get it over with. No, it's like a genuine, because you're not just saying it to them or the situation, you're saying it to you.
Yes. See, for me, I would say that is the ideal bit of what I would call mirror work, whether or not you're looking in a mirror or not, but that pattern interrupt, the potential for reframing, the pause moment, what Mel Robbins calls like that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like that's a brilliant manifestation of state change. Very, very powerful. And I'm so grateful for you to have shared it with us today. What a brilliant takeaway for everybody. Me especially, just saying, because this is my show. It can be all about me. Natasha, I am so grateful for you and for the life that you're living, and that I get to be over here just reaping the benefits of what's spilling out of your cup. And thank you for that. And all that you're doing. And when the podcast makes its way into the world exactly at the right time, I look forward to diving like headlong into it. So,
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in today. This has been a very heart-centered experience, and I'm so grateful to have everybody with us. And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Join Dion again next week to learn more about what you can do to go from hot mess to awesomeness.